breaking news.
Welcome back. You're taking a live look at 4:30 as we know a tow truck is back on 85 North, pulling away the vehicles involved in this deputy-involved incident. As we know, a passerby hit two deputies and a suspect during a traffic stop. They were outside of the vehicle, and another deputy responding as backup did hit the suspect's vehicle. 3 deputies brought to the hospital. The suspect and passenger also brought to the hospital. We're told they are okay. But we have learned some sad information this afternoon from the coroner confirming there is 1 death involved in this incident. And they're taking a live look at Prisma Hospital downtown Greenville, where you can see a heavy law enforcement presence as a lot of people are starting to gather there at the hospital. And Cody Alcorn joining us live right now from the scene along 85 North, right before White Horse Road. And Cody, we learned that heartbreaking news just a few minutes ago from the coroner.
Yeah, it is the worst case scenario here for the Greenville County Sheriff's Office. As I've been mentioning since the top of the hour, sources told me at the very beginning when we started covering this that they need prayers for the Sheriff's Office right now. We knew this crash was horrific, and I can tell you there's still multiple law enforcement responding to this scene, and you can see them now. You have Highway Patrol, you have Sheriff's deputies still responding. The interstate's still closed at this point. They're letting some traffic go every once in a while, but I know Chris Scott's been following this. Traffic is backed up for miles, but that's so minute compared to just the significance of what has happened out here now on I-85 northbound, where the coroner's office is now requested to this scene. As you mentioned, Tori, 3 deputies here rushed to the hospital. We knew at 4 o'clock when we went on the air, just before 4 actually, that those deputies needed our prayers. We did confirm, and I was told this from the Sheriff's Office, the suspect and the passenger who were initially pulled over are okay. But now we have again learned that the coroner has been requested to this scene, and this will be a scene for a while tonight. Just a heartbreaking situation unfolding here. It's heartbreaking for the deputies who are working this, who responded to this, and those who are now still working their shifts here. And as you mentioned, Matt Koufax over at Prisma Hospital, that scene will continue to grow as well as these deputies, their family, get word of what has transpired. As I mentioned, I did try to call Sheriff Lewis to get an update, but now, as we know, he's likely very busy here comforting family members and his own men and women at the Greenville County Sheriff's Office. We are expecting the sheriff to hold a news conference, but that will likely now be a little bit later, as a lot has transpired here in the last 35 or 40 minutes since we've been on the air. But as you mentioned, all we know right now is that for some reason a traffic stop was initiated here on I-85 northbound, and for some reason a fight broke out. I was told by the Sheriff's Office it happened as they were going to take at least one of those individuals into custody. That is when the fight broke out with these 2 deputies. And then for some reason that passerby hit or clipped the back of that suspect's car. But when you're going 70 miles, 60 miles per hour, even clipping a vehicle, that's a big impact. It hit those 2 deputies. Those suspects were also hurt. And now here we are, where we now know at least 1 injury was fatal here on I-85 northbound. But that is about all we know right now, Tori. So we will be following this inside our Fox Carolina News app. We have team coverage of this. Matt Koufax over at the hospital, Jarvis Robertson just up on I-85 northbound. This will be the main story we talk about for the rest of the day and now for probably the rest of the week. What has transpired here, truly heartbreaking, and this will affect so many people here in the county once we start to learn more about those involved in what happened here on I-85 North, Tori. But just heartbreaking news as far as what has transpired right behind me, just a few hundred feet.
We appreciate your live reports this afternoon. We'll check in with you in just a few minutes, but right now we do want to get live out to our Matt Koufax, who is downtown at Prisma Hospital. You're outside there, Matt. You saw a bunch more cars pulling in within the last few minutes or so. What else are you seeing right now?
Yeah, well, Tori, I believe the word Cody used was heartbreaking. This has certainly been
tough to watch as we stand here outside Greenville Memorial Hospital. I want to take you over here first before we get to the large crowd in front, but you can see deputies' cars parked around the block. More and more of them have been arriving in the last 15 minutes. There is a dramatic law enforcement presence here. I want to take you over towards the main entrance now. You can see that there is an ambulance with its bay doors open. A large crowd has gathered in front right here. And as I mentioned, more and more deputies' cars keep pulling up, new personnel every few minutes. Their cars lined up around the block. We're not able to speculate at this time whether that one fatality that Cody mentioned could have been law enforcement related, but we have seen crowds hugging, perhaps consoling each other outside as that crowd outside the main entrance near that ambulance and those squad cars continues to grow. As Cody mentioned, we do know that there is one death in this incident. The coroner's office was able to confirm that after that traffic stop on I-85 northbound that involved 3 deputies. We know that 3 deputies were rushed to Greenville Memorial Hospital, and we are working to get an update on their condition. We're going to toss it to Jarvis now, who's actually out at I-85. Jarvis.
We're still here on I-85 southbound where traffic has actually started to slow down, but we're directly across from that incident involving the Greenville County Sheriff's Office. Now, multiple first responders on scene. We do know that this all started sometime around 3 o'clock this afternoon when the traffic stop was initiated. Within the last 20 to 30 minutes, again, we still had more officers arriving here to this scene from the state troopers. Now, certainly this is a very sad situation that has unfolded. As we continue to get more details, the only thing we can do is continue to report them. And as Cody has been mentioning throughout the afternoon, those who work with the Greenville County Sheriff's Office, they're definitely requesting prayers for the family members of those officers involved in this situation. Now, the car that's at question here is being surrounded by a state trooper's vehicle and also 2 semi-trailers behind it, so we can't get a good look at that car to see what it is, but also multiple first responders on scene. And as you all can see, the traffic, they have it pushed down to either one lane or all the way off to the shoulder. Very, very slow going through. So anyone that's on I-85 northbound that has not made it past exit 42, they're going to be there for quite some time. But again, as we continue to get more details involving this store, we're certainly going to pass that information along. Back to you in the studio, Tori.
Yeah, Jarvis, thank you for that update. And we're going to continue to talk about the roads right now with our traffic anchor, Chris Scott, who can give us a better breakdown, show us both those aerial angles. Chris, what are you seeing? Yeah, well, this is a live look from our DOT camera at the 43-mile marker. This is Whitehorse Road. This is the northbound area. That's where all the investigation and all the incident itself happened. They are letting traffic by on one lane on the northbound side. However, and they also have a detour set up too. I'm going to show you that in just a minute, but still very slow travel. The southbound lane is backing up a little bit toward Pleasantburg Drive, but it's moving through there pretty well. Folks are not slowing down quite as bad. A detour has been set up at exit 42. This is at 85 North. This is River Road exit 39 down toward Anderson County. That's where the backup actually begins. You go through Powdersville, exit 40 at 153, and then to exit 42, which is the 185 and US 29 area going on into downtown Greenville. There are a couple of other ways you can get, of course, around that Whitehorse Road exit and get back on the interstate. But as of right now, 85 North exit 42, US 29 at I-85 has been set up for a detour. Tori?